This story coming out of Michigan. And as you know, I will be headed to Michigan for the holidays. Well, not really I'm not going to Michigan for the holidays. I'm going to Michigan for the holiday. Just so happens that Hanukkah is celebrated at that time too. I would not normally go to Michigan for Hanukkah, but I will be this year. Nevertheless, I wonder if this will be a topic of conversation. It will be at some of the places we go in Michigan. Others, not so much, my guess. This is getting a little too personal. This is good news. This happened last night. Michigan Attorney General Bill Scuette, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, announces that there are criminal charges as a result of the process in which Flint, Michigan's water was poisoned. And the criminal charges are being brought against two of the emergency managers. And I should say, just to remind people, Michigan passed a law that said that the governor could essentially take over various cities by installing a non-elected city manager, just a bureaucrat by the state, to run the city, effectively sidelining the city council and the elected mayor. That law was repealed, if I'm not mistaken, by Michigan voters. And then they reinstituted it, the Republican-controlled legislature. In the wake of that, the city managers of Flint, Michigan, went on to, in an attempt to save money, supposedly, to disconnect from the Detroit city water that they had been receiving for, I don't know, maybe how long? Decades in Flint. And while they were building a new system to get water more cheaply, they were drawing water from the Flint River. And because they had no experience in treating this water, the water, because of maybe the heavy metals in it, I'm not quite sure well, I understand about the pipes, but whatever was in the water caused the pipes to corrode. Now, usually you have to treat water that comes from these sources to keep the pipes from corroding. And these are old pipes and lead pipes. And so lead leached into the water. And despite the complaints of citizens in Flint, despite research done by outside researchers that there was lead in this water, there was no response. Because, of course, as an appointed city manager, you don't respond to citizens. You respond to your boss, Rick Snyder, the governor. However, Michigan Attorney General Bill Scuette, again, Republican, has charged two former state of Michigan emergency managers, Darnell Early and Gerald Ambrose. Let's hear him tell us.
Very evident during the course of this investigation has been a fixation on finances and balance sheets. This fixation has cost lives. This fixation came at the expense of protecting the health and safety of Flint. It's all about numbers over people, money over health.
And that's exactly right. And Bill Scuette sounds like a guy who's going to run for something relatively soon. But basically, and the charges centered around the way in which the false pretenses in which both city managers engaged in securing loans to get this work done. There was also two other people who were charged who worked for the water treatment plant. There were two guys, Croft and Johnson, allegedly pressured employees of the Flint water treatment plant to get the plant working in order before April of 2014, this scheduled date for restart. When the deadline closed in, rather than sound the alarm, these consultants, the defendants allegedly ignored warnings and test results and shut off the pipes, pulling clean water from Detroit, and turned on the Flint River valves. In other words, we have an edict. This is Howard Croft and Doherty Johnson. We have an edict from the governor to save money, and we're going to do that at all costs. And here comes, this is Andy Arena and Scuette. These are both investigators. Andy Arena is the chief investigative officer, and Scuette's the AG. And it sounds like they're not done. And I can tell you, I have a story here from CBS Detroit. And there's only about 6 names in this. Andy Arena's name's in this piece. Bill Scuette's name is in this piece. Those are the people I'm sorry, there's 7 names. And then there's Darnell Early and Gerald Ambrose, the 2 city managers who were charged. And those, the 2 Croft and Johnson, the 2 consultants. And then there's one other name in this piece. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but it's Rick Snyder. Take it away, Attorney Generals of the state.
Today you see, once again, the investigation has continued to go up and to go out. As the Attorney General said, we're much closer to the end. We are at the beginning, but we're not at the end. There is investigation that's still continuing today. There are some people out there right now who know that they've done wrong, and they know we're coming after them. They're not going to have a very Merry Christmas. I don't feel bad about that. But we will continue to follow the evidence. We will continue to investigate this. We owe it to the people of Michigan, and we owe it particularly to the people of Flint.
We just take them as we find them. And the fact is that this is a higher level of responsibility. These are governor-appointed emergency managers that we're charging today with 20-year felonies, and it's serious. And it, as Andy Arena said, we're going up and we're going broader. And again, I've said this before, nobody's on the table, nobody's off the table. We're not out to nail anybody. No mind if you've done something wrong, then you ought to be worried.
I suspect things at Governor Snyder's mansion are not going to be so comfortable during the Christmas holiday. I mean, up and out, getting closer to the end than we are at the beginning. No one's off the table. I mean, Rick Snyder, let's face it, these guys are facing 20 years each. They were executing Rick Snyder's plan. This guy should be going to jail. And when he gets to jail, he should be very thankful that he got jail as opposed to the incredible pain that he's going to cause. It's going to be multi-generational pain. And this is the fundamental problem you have with these city manager, these emergency manager laws is there's no way for the people who are suffering to even have any redress. There's no leverage that they have. They call the city manager's office. The city manager doesn't need to take their phone call. Doesn't care. Why would he? Completely incentivized to not listen to the population. In fact, that's the primary feature. When you privatize things, and that's all you're doing here on some level, right? I mean, it's a government function, but you're totally undemocratizing it. It is so that there is no accountability to the voters, so that there is no accountability to the citizens. And, we're going to see a lot more of this in just about every facet of our government, particularly on a federal level, but surely on a state level going forward under the Trump administration. So good. I hope and we're going to hear a lot more, I think, from state attorney generals too, frankly. Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Subscribe.